Hey, this is the Kubeflow notebooks meeting for the 24th of April 2025. We will, in this meeting, we'll do some introductions. Briefly, we'll quickly go through some of the 1.0 issues and stuff that we're working on, some of the 2.0 issues, and then we'll do a status update with what everyone's taken, what everyone's done in the last few weeks. I just want to introduce Notebooks 2.0 to people who don't know about it. Issue number 85 on Kubeflow/notebooks. It has some information about what it is. If you don't know about it, it's good for sharing. It does link to the design issues and things. There's some stuff has changed a little bit, but the general idea and motivation of why we're doing this is here. Okay, 1.0 stuff. Oh, actually, does anyone want to say hi who hasn't said hi before? I don't know if we've got some new names in the chat, actually. Feel free to, anyone can unmute and say hi or anything like that. If not, then I see some new names. Hi, people. Okay.
Hey, hello.
Oh, hey. What brings you to the meeting? Are you wanting to help contribute or just using or?
Contribute. I'm actually from Red Hat, from a Senan team, and happy to get involved.
Cool. Awesome. Anyone else?
Yes, me too. So
We have two people.
I'm from Senan team from Red Hat.
Oh, as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm as well.
Everyone's from that team, apparently. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to say hi?
From Red Hat.
Awesome. I'm just gonna remove the bot that appeared out of nowhere. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next thing, which is so there is some stuff going on, and I don't know if Andy, you've I think I'm blocking some of your work here, but we do have to quickly go over some of the dashboard migration stuff. Is this what have you what is the status on this? Do we know?
Well, I put it in my section below, Matthew. We want one PR merge that I think's ready that creates some general files, and then I wrote up README fix, which I think is how we want to build Kubeflow dashboard. So I just wanted those two reviewed and merged.
Existing one or the new dashboard?
New dashboard.
Okay, because the new dashboard hasn't been released yet, to be very clear. So it's like it's kind of probably broken. It hasn't been worked on in a couple of years, right? So that's I just want to remind you that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's me like updating the README to like actually get it to like build and serve. So the instructions were wrong. Hole 88 fixes the instructions. Hole 83 creates some files that we need for the actions that are used across all the actions. So if I get those two things merged, I know that then I can write the central DB Angular stuff and not be surprised, which is the ultimate goal.
By the way, if we should, how much work is in just rewriting it in Angular, you know what I mean? Like rather than whether we want to continue the Angular stuff or whether we just want to, because another part of me wonders if we should not have the backend be part of the front end at all. You know, like the same as what we've done for the UI of the notebooks 2.0 and stuff, that I think maybe just taking, you know, a Go controller, you know what I mean, based one and make for the API. Because right now it's just kind of messy and it interacts, because it doesn't scale the profile controller particularly well right now either. And especially if we want to make it do more complicated things. Anyway, I just wonder if long term, we're not talking about it today, but I just want to think like there is a chance that the UI part maybe can stay Angular if it's got lots of work done, but if it hasn't, then decoupling it might be a better chance, because I think there's a lot of discussion around making sure that the dashboard is clearly an optional component so that then the tools stay the focus of the upstream project, but we still provide a dashboard, but it's an optional thing, including, you know, so if you're a distribution or whatever, you can replace the dashboard or your auth, like most companies who sell Kubeflow do, but you know, anyway. Okay, so we'll make sure that we'll get to that when the status, I think. Okay, cool. Anything else that's we need? So the overall thing is that we're migrating the dashboard code, which includes the profile controller, front end dashboard code, and the pod defaults and the other things into the new dashboard repo. We're not moving the Kubeflow notebook stuff quite yet. So previously they lived in Kubeflow. And we're just setting up the release process so that we can cut a release from there. That's the first task.
And yeah, I think Malind is not on this call, but I thought he had mentioned he has PRs for all the other GitHub actions too. I can only imagine he's waiting to open those for that first one, PR 83, to land. So Central DB Angular was supposedly the only other one needed. So I think if we get those two PRs that are open called out in here, then we should be able to quickly close on the rest of them.
And that's for the tests, right? Not for the releasing.
I think the releasing we can do now because we have that version file in there. But Malind would be like a better person to comment
No,
on
because
that.
like the
But
release actions need to be created separately. I think we only did the testing ones. Also, we need to make sure that the repo is allowed to push to the image repos before it can release.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're correct. It is only the test ones we're talking about right now. Yes.
So the end goal is get released, but I guess so. First task is getting the dashboard repo to have GHA tests on PR commit. Second, release version, and then getting the next one is getting, what do you call it? Like evaluating the state of the dashboard rewrite. Saying question mark, should we move to Go based API backend rather than having any REST stuff in the front end? I guess this is a question for the front end people as well. Just like how much in the front end should be there? Like should there be anything, do you think? I mean, in our notebooks 2.0 front end, are we doing any kind of not REST stuff, but do we just directly call the APIs in the back end? Is that kind of what we do? I guess it is, right?
Yeah. I'm just sorry, I was in another chat, but basically what we do, yeah, we call the backend and that's it.
Because I wonder if we should do the same thing with the example. Because I want to see, we probably need to rewrite the profile control as well, but that's a separate discussion. I wonder if because we could make a new dashboard backend dashboard controller and just upgrade the code as well to mimic our new code as well and things like that. But I don't know if we should do it straight away or after.
This will be a rewrite of the front end as well. If you do this.
Well,
if
the front end,
this,
yeah, I mean, it is
because I bet the logic on the front end is everywhere on the current front end, scattering across.
The old one.
From the old one.
Yeah, because the best part is that we can also, this would also allow us to consolidate the KFAM and dashboard backend APIs. Like this is like one thing I do want to do, and then we might also need to rewrite the controller profile controller. There's something to think about. I just want to try and get the dashboard into a state where it's doesn't need a lot of work, but it needs a lot of work right now. Okay, I don't know about that. We can skip that one. Okay, migrating dashboard to GHCR. We've done that already, but oh yes, we know we haven't. So okay, there is a couple of references to the old images in the Notebooks 2.0 repo, so we should maybe update those, but we can come back to that later. Secret mounting, I'm blocking that. I need to finish something there. Okay. Okay. So the one thing I do want to just housekeeping talk about is it's obviously not everyone's on this call, but I think we should stop doing this thing. This is messy and we have labels for these exact things. So let's we don't need to go through and rename them all right now, but we should at some point. Maybe I don't know, as you see them. So that for reference, any member of the org can retitle any pull request by going retitle and then a name. So let's never use double slashes in it. It's really messy. To indicate epics and stuff, we should do a square brackets and then full caps section, like this. So pretty much all I'm saying is let's just remove that. And because it has these two things, that's fine. It's a bit strange, but I don't know if that's a very descriptive issue, but whatever. And then we'd have it much cleaner. Another thing is that if we, this is not an example of one, but if we do have one, like epics can be like that. And sub things, which are like features but not tasks, can be that under an epic. So epic, like the goal, we're going to go through it in a minute, but the kind of new structure of the planning, so we can kind of keep everything in GitHub, is it goes epic, which is kind of an actual, just something big, you know, the ability to do X or something new. And then under that, you have actual specific features. And then under that, you have tasks, but the tasks can live under multiple features. So a single task might affect a lot of different features, obviously, you know, there's many cases. So do you want to add anything there?
No, you described it pretty well.
So yeah, I don't know how we're going to split up that task. Is like 111 of these. There's not that many notebooks 2.1.
No, it's not that many. I can do the rename together when they create the epics. I can do this.
Okay, I mean, I can also just rename them manually. It's a bit easier for me as well. But
no, I can do it with title. Don't worry.
Okay. But it also reduces the spam, I think, if I do it. But yeah. Anyway, we'll look at it later. Okay. So I just want to highlight one other big change, which most people aren't really super aware of the redirects feature anyway. But definitely after discussing what the epics and plans need to be, it's definitely clear we need to change how we're doing redirects. Redirects are a really important feature of Notebooks 2.0, which allow admins to say, since everything is option driven now with workspace kinds, you know, the user doesn't select a specific image, they select an option for an image and they select an option for a pod template. So pod templates are stuff like resource requests and everything like that. So rather than doing any so right now what happens in the current controller is that when an admin creates, let's say we're going to redirect version 1 of the image to version 2. This is what happens right now is if the workspace is running that's using version 1, nothing happens. But if the workspace is paused, it gets immediately redirected unless it has a flag called defer updates. And this, I think, is the wrong way to do it. Effectively, it causes a lot of issues with making decisions around like race conditions and other things. So I think the redirects should be purely a UI or API driven thing, not CRD. And what that means is that we're going to remove the controller's redirect stuff other than it telling in the status what the redirects would be if you wanted to apply them, which is already there. And instead, for example, when you're in the UI and a workspace has a pending redirect, either as an admin or as an end user, you can choose at any point to apply the update, either as just when it's running, when it's restarting, when you're starting, stopping. We can think about how often we want to pester the user to say you should update. And then at that point, we also show them the chain of change logs that their admin has provided. But I just want to highlight that this is just much cleaner because it solves a lot of problems. We can go into specifics later, but I just wanted to highlight that we're going to make that change. We had some other ideas, but yeah, we can talk about these another day. Anything you want to add there, Eder?
Nope.
Okay, cool. I do want to highlight this one thing though, which is that we do plan to try and set up kind of a nice progression flow for getting people more access in the repo. Right now, we only have kind of members, which is GitHub members and approvers of some kind. I think we should have approvers for specific sections, which we kind of already do, but have a defined process to get there. And then we have maintainers who kind of help overview the, like, they effectively the flow is that owners appoint vote on maintainers and approvers, but also mainly maintainers, and then maintainers vote on approvers, and approvers vote on making people more approvers effectively. So it's like, and we can think about the responsibilities, but there's some examples from Volcano, like they have this kind of, you know, the responsibilities of an approver is to make reviews. Again, while it's called approver, they do have to make, the whole point is to review things. And then they have specific right access to specific places, but maintainers are about like planning and overall stuff. And then to get a new approver, you need to have 2 maintainers sponsor you or above, you know, these kind of things. We can go through what people want later, but the goal in the end is to have it so that people who have a good understanding of each component are in charge of merging stuff in those components. But
Wait, sorry, hey everyone. Can I ask a quick question for this?
yes.
Yeah, I know you'll be discussing this last meeting as well. I'm wondering why we don't want to follow the process we have already.
Which
for the
process?
different, like if you don't go to the website, right? We have these different levels of, you know.
We only have 2 levels there. I'm more proposing adding a 3rd level. So
it's actually four of them, if I remember correctly.
if you're talking about the community one, right, or membership one?
Yep, this one.
Okay, I mean,
It's
some of
6 right levels.
yeah. The problem is that realistically, these two are this doesn't make this. I don't think these two roles make sense. Like effectively, the people who and just especially like random people reviewing things is fine, but the only one that really matters is someone who actually can approve it. And like this, effectively, the main goal of the approver is to actually review things. That's kind of, and then the goal is to add a third one, which is a little bit more like what this approver is, which is like maintainer. And it more less than just forcing someone to become a lead. That's
Why
kind of,
we cannot call maintainer working group lead?
I think that most working groups have limitations on representation within them. And also,
Okay, we can fix it, right?
yeah, like, well, they should have a limitation, I think, right? That like this, like, I don't know. This the chairs make sense because they vote, but we need to discuss what lead even means in the context of each working group. But I think maybe it could be, but I worry that it might. I think the working groups are more governance in my mind than.
But I think, I mean, if we want to have another layer, we can definitely discuss it. But I just don't want, you know.
Well,
I think
effectively,
we
what I'm
should
saying is
have
dropping
the
this layer.
consistency, right?
What I'm effectively saying is dropping this layer and making approver actually maintainer. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of
Yeah, but I think, I mean, we definitely can learn something from Volcano. I don't think, you know, ours or theirs community membership is perfect, right? But it's
no,
just,
I'm mainly just
you know,
talking about having some. Again, the problem is that associating it to the working group leads, and that's kind of the part that I'm a bit concerned about. But because this is not
yeah,
like a progression per se. That's
no, it's actually progression, right? If you take a look in the
but the amount of people who are allowed in each role drops dramatically as you go up. These
no, we
ones,
don't have these
infinite people could
restrictions.
be in, but these ones definitely there are limits. Anyway, we'll come back.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of
Right.
what I'm saying.
My
I just
only
wanna
my
give
only
people-
question, like, why we don't invent it, you know, new things, but you know,
Yeah, it's
happy
the same
to-
idea. Like we can discuss. We don't really have leads, is what I'm saying. Like we use the
Okay.
term lead and chair interchangeably in the notebooks, but
Okay.
we don't have two levels in the notebooks working group. But we can talk if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to highlight this is a proposal to discuss. We're not proposing anything specific, but the goal is the same, which is to get more people who are able to approve things, but actually have clear responsibilities and it's clear how someone gets a new level, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of
Yeah,
like,
we could have a team for them, right? I think it's a good point. I mean, we can have a team for them, like similar to a team who apply milestones, like create GitHub team and put it here, right?
well, I
If you
think yeah,
want
this is
another-
not there's no indication like okay, to get a reviewer, it should need 2 approvers. Like getting membership is clear. Well, that's not a requirement. I guess it is, but like this, in my mind, there should be some like leads appoint approvers, appoint reviewers, appoint. You know what I mean? That's kind of
Okay. Yeah,
obviously
okay.
leads and chairs. That's the part that I think is lacking for these 3. But anyway, okay, let's move on. Okay, these other ideas we can talk about them a later day, unless you have something specific about Andre that you had.
No, about this, like I only suggest that all of us follow the same process across all the projects on the Kubeflow ecosystem, right? So
Sure.
we don't really, I mean, have like different process for every project, right? In the working group. My only recommendation, right?
I mean, in general, do you have something else you wanted to talk about? Like,
no, I mean, I don't know. They have agenda. I just want to talk about, you know, dashboard and notebook stuff. Like
yeah, so I mean, we talked about
there.
that very briefly. There's only a couple of PRs that are blocking it. The only which we will review today. I don't know the exact status on. So again, there's a couple more steps we said, which was making sure we get the PR commit actions merged, which I think is the current PRs that are open. Then we need to make sure it's possible to release, and then we need to evaluate the current status of the rewrite. And there's some discussions there, but
yeah, I think Milan just finished one of the PRs, so I think
yeah, he
he's
did
waiting for
this
your
first one. Yeah. I need to review that one, but I think
Okay.
and Andy and stuff are working on that. I think we can probably discuss that in the thread.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like curious if I could, you know, ask contributors to open PRs and
Oh,
dashboard
okay, that's a
because-
separate point actually. I'll put that as a third. That's more actually that is actually go through. This is actually important through existing Kubeflow PRs on dashboard and ask them to re-raise or do it ourselves on the new dashboard. This is important. And then the last one, actually, you're right. There's another one as well, which is for remove the dashboard code.
Yeah, so I can, just go over PRs and ask contributors to open it and close them, right? In the Kubeflow, if you want to.
Yeah, we can also close ones that don't matter. I mean, the people who have been going through the repo might be more able now to understand if something might make sense. I don't know, but
So who can do the step 3?
well, anyone can do it. Just it's about deciding what's important, I guess. And we tried to clear out a lot of them, but there are some that probably aren't needed. But also the question is, do we re-raise them ourselves or do we ask them to re-raise them, especially for really old ones?
I mean, it's up to you, but I suggest to ask contributors to re-raise because
We need
have a lot
to
of other
create at
things
least
to
an
do.
issue to track it then as well. Like if we don't manually do it ourselves, we should keep track. Anyway, so I guess we'll just put that here, which is like
I can, if you want, I can create you an issue in Kubeflow dashboard and put the PR so that I close.
well, or we don't. Let's just go through them manually. There's no need to create a new issue. We could, I guess,
Okay.
if you want to create a tracking issue, sure, but we don't need to list them out in that issue. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. So just close them and ask contributors to open.
Well, don't close them. I think we can leave them. That's maybe how we can track them. Maybe we could label them. Maybe.
Yeah, it will be hard, right? Much because some of them really old, right? For 4 years old from 2021.
So like effectively we should decide. I think we should ping people on them and ask them to re-raise them. If they don't do it within a week, then we should create an issue that's equivalent on the new repo to keep with a link to the old PR, and then say you need to redo this, so we don't forget about it. So like it's like once we have the test GHA set up, don't do it before then. Ask.
But we can do this in parallel, right? Because we don't need to close them. We can just start asking contributors.
If we ask them, we don't want them to raise the PR until the tests are in, though. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's fine, but they can rebase it, right?
It's a bit of a waste of their time, though. It's a bit of a waste of their time. To raise equivalent PRs on the new repo. Wait a few.
Yeah, we can add the lifecycle stale label there, right?
Or maybe just add a label as well, like add.
You already have lifecycle stale label.
Dashboard label to the new to the PRs. Wait a few weeks. If no action and we still want the PR, we can what do you call it? Either open a PR ourselves on the new repo or make a tracking issue on the new repo with a link to the old PR. Okay, I think that's definitely the steps for that. Okay, I don't think there's anything else to talk about there. I want to get to Notebook 2.0 stuff. It's really important. Okay, anything else you wanted to ask about?
So quickly on Notebooks 1.0, what are we waiting for?
Well, let's go through the dashboard stuff first. That's kind of my plan.
Okay. Is there any way for us to, ask more contributors to help you with 1.0?
I think we're kind of constrained a little bit on Notebooks is going to be more complicated, and we're not going to be releasing for a while anyway. So it's kind of, Notebooks, it has much more active PRs. I think number there is much higher, and so before we go to them, I do want to. Yeah, Notebooks is just going to cause so much pain moving all those PRs, but
they still need to do it, right, Matthew? I just want to hear what is your perspective, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do it, but it's just getting the releases there is going to be harder as well. So I just want to do the dashboard first. That's the plan. Let's do the dashboard first, see how long it takes. Once we've got it, we'll have a better plan for the next one as well. And
yeah, but can we get any help from anyone here who can help us with reviewing PRs? So it's not
all
only
these people here are mostly on Notebook 2.0. I'd prefer they focus on 2.0, except a couple of people who are doing the dashboard stuff.
Okay.
It's just not as important. The 1.0 stuff we will migrate before the next release of 1.0, but let's start with the dashboard.
It will just be important for graduation. That is, I just want to say, right? So
I mean, I don't know if it's that important for graduation, but it's something. The dashboard is critical because it needs to be isolated out so that it's clear as an optional component. But for the other pieces, notebooks.
notebooks, I mean, it's also
Under-
go ahead.
Andre, when your time frame for the graduation that we need to be ready?
So the plan was to finalize graduation by KubeCon Atlanta, which means like we need to start security audit right now because it takes 3 months to complete.
And we need to do security audit also in notebooks 1.2 on 1.0 happen,
If
right?
we
This is
decide
what
to
you mean.
graduate this component, it's up to you, right? Otherwise, we won't graduate notebooks.
We should, right, Matthew?
The issue is that there's like a lot of old code in there that we're not going to be updating, even if it does have problems. That's my only concern.
But the problem, maybe something for us to take offline. But the problem is that if we don't finish notebook 2.0, imagine that CNSF get graduation with notebooks 1.0, and then we don't finish 2.0 so far, we are going to have a release of the Kubeflow in the CNSF without notebooks.
Notebooks 1. Like there's no world in which Kubeflow releases any version without notebooks. It would be needlessly.
No, yeah,
project.
but I agree on general, but that's why we need to migrate 1.0, right?
Yeah, we're going to migrate it. We're not going to do that. It's more like I don't think it's going to take months to do the migration is what I'm saying. I don't think this dashboard migration is going to take months. And Atlanta KubeCon is quite a way away. It's like hundreds of days away.
No, I just want to say, Matthew, like otherwise we won't finish graduation, right? Because it takes 3 months for CNCF to do audit, right?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think that while I would love to try and get graduation by by KubeCon, let's see what the timeline ends up being once we move forward on those tasks, Andre. I think, right? Like, there's lots of other tasks as well.
Okay, I mean, it's up to you, but I just feel like we should.
I don't think this is the
prioritize it.
blocker, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think migrating the notebooks code is the blocker for the graduation, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not like they can't review the code in the Kubeflow repo. The dashboard
but
it
it's
is
just
a blocker though, because it needs to be clear that it is not required.
I think the problem is confusing, right? Because we need to have a clear documentation structure of the governments, right, and the repos, right? I mean, it's
Sure.
hard for them to explain, and I don't know how security audit process, but they might look for the code, so they might need to look for the repo. So we need to clearly say to them, this repo is for Kubeflow notebooks, right?
Yeah, they do need to understand approvers and other things like that. But anyway, like again, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's migrating the code. I want to get the dashboard done because it is a blocker, whereas the notebooks is not initially, at least. And we don't have infinite resources. I don't think you should worry that much about it. We are doing it. We're doing the dashboard. Let's focus on that. So we have one task at a time, even if multiple people are working on it. We're not that far away from that.
Okay, let's see. All
cool. Right. Okay, we need to, so Eder and I went through what we think the initial kind of epics should be so we're going to start tracking things a bit more carefully as we try and go towards an actual release of 2.0. And we think that a good way to do that is going to be tracking overall epics, which are kind of big things that are involve lots of features or involve many work items internally. So kind of the layering of features is layering of project management stuff will be epic at the root level. So for example, an epic might be create a workspace, the ability to create a workspace. And under there, some of these features would be the ability to choose from a list of workspace kinds, choosing a pod config, choosing an image config, mounting a secret inline during a workspace flow, or creating one with a separate UI, mounting a persistent volume during an inline during workspace creation or with a separate UI. And so these kind of are the features. And then under there, we'll have work items. So for example, some of these top ones, obviously, almost everything is connected to a couple of work items, mainly the first one being connecting the front end to the back end. Right now, it's all mocked. So like that's obviously literally connected to every single issue right now, every single feature issue. So what we're planning to do from epics is create, a new issue that is, we're not going to do it right now, but epic, and then like create workspaces, and then we're going to add sub issues because you can add sub issues under here, which are for each of the features. And then for the features, that's the thing that will link to the work items. And because we're thinking that we should focus on these three features because these are the most, this is not to block the release. There's other epics required for the release, but just right now so that we can get it into an end-to-end working state, this is the minimum for our pre-alpha stuff. which is the ability to connect, create, and update a workspace from a user perspective, not from an admin perspective. And so pretty much the way we're structuring this is we've got features, then we've got stories, which are kind of like, we haven't written it out, but you know, I am a user who wants to be able to create multiple workspaces, one of VS Code, one of Jupyter, and things like that. And that's kind of how this is going to be. And that's at the epic level, which is kind of helping to give context. So effectively, when you've got a work item assigned to you, even if you don't exactly understand what's going on, the goal should be able to look up the feature chain. So it's like, oh, this work item is related to these features. And then what are those features related to the overall epics? And as obviously creating a workspace, I guess the question is, Edo, do you think we'll leave these epics open even once they're able to be done? Like, should they be everlasting? You know, like epics related?
I don't think I don't think so. If we finish all the stories and the subtasks from the epic and now the feature, we should close and maybe create a new one, a follow up.
Okay. Maybe we should have, and then long term, then maybe once we've done a release, we should have some kind of, I guess that's just areas, right? That's just area.
Yeah, this is areas, yeah.
Okay, cool. We've only got front end, back end right now, but we could add front end / something, you know, in the future, like front end / admin, front end / user or something. Okay, cool. Okay, so I guess the question here is, this list isn't comprehensive. Edo, what do you want to do here? Do you want to add some features, or we don't really have time to do it right now? But
no, I don't think that we should do this right now. My next steps, I'm going to create those epics and map the work that we have right now, work in progress with Paulo, especially. And because Paulo is doing some work, especially in the create workspace, and add for this epic to group, and then plan what is missing on the other cores of the work. And meanwhile, those cores that I put on the global cores are things that people can work, that we know that are blockers for those epics. But those epics should not be surprise for anyone, because those are things that are information that scatters across the document. So we are just taking them and grouping them.
Probably check up here as well and see if there's any.
Yep. I move those stuff. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do.
And also just highlighting that we do have a project thing now, and we can create new views maybe for each epic or swim lanes or something. So we have this is the goal here is that we can triage issues and PRs as they come in. You can go here and see them. The goal is to get it to a point where we have labels for the version and area that a issue is related to. And once we accept it as something we're going to do, we move it into to do. If we just need more information, or we don't know if we want to do it yet, we can do discussion. Some people have been given permission to do that. Annoyingly, you can't use this UI here to do the labels. You will need to use /area to do them by going into the issue, and anyone can do this, but so probably we should have the issue templates give specific examples of areas. It always gets a bit hard though for people, so maybe it's probably just we do it on triage. I think that's because any new issue is going to get an on triage label, like these ones. Priority needs triage. So hopefully, but the problem is you need to add a priority to remove that label. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Prioritizing is hard. We have to think about whether we do need to get them to a point where we remove this label though. Okay. Because that's like effectively just adding a priority is random, you know what I mean? It's almost like people don't really have any conception of that. I don't know if that's... Like, we can probably just add priority remove, effectively, you know, priority, and like, effectively, unless you really know what you're doing, probably adding like priority, and then like, I don't know what the command would be to remove them, but there must be a remove or something like that. And let's just quickly check. Prowl probably links it right here. So it's, oh gosh. So it will be priority. Yeah, this one. Okay. Okay, priority, remove priority. Yeah, it looks like you can go remove language label, kind, dig. Priority. Wait, this is kind of weird, right? Like, why is it? Is it just remove - priority? I guess, right?
I guess so.
Okay, let's just quickly try it to make sure. So where's one that has it? So anyone can do this, to be very clear. This is not restricted unless you're not a member. So front-end enhancement, this one, so I'll just rename it so that it's here. Oh, so what we'll do is we'll add labels list to workspace details. Okay. And then area v2 priority, wait, no, remove. Let's see if that works. Edit that one, and then maybe it will. Okay, well, we might need to experiment with that. Let's
Matt, should we stop using feet, the semantic commits?
This is
for
for
the issues?
commits. That's for, yes, for commits we absolutely need to keep doing that, but for this is for issues.
We should not add this for issues, right?
No, please don't. No.
Okay.
The PR bot will actually prevent you making. It'll tell you your PR is blocked if you don't have a semantic commit. Semantic commits is adding these colon things at the beginning. We do have this kind of weirdness where we have the area is like workspaces versus notebooks. I don't know if maybe we should change what we're doing there to be something else, or whether it should be label based, and then we should have front end, back end here. You know, I don't know. What do people think? They're these obviously because all of them end up just being workspace or empty. I don't know. We could have v2 dash something. I don't know, v2 dash front end. Oh, and that's messy. I think it should just be front end, right? Back end. But then the labels still need to. That's just really messy. People forget to label things. I don't know. This is probably fine for now. Okay, let's keep moving. So I don't know how we remove the priority label because otherwise we're gonna end up with a lot of them.
If you can back for the document.
Oh wait, no, triage. Okay, I think all it is that someone needs to add something. That's what it says here.
I think is remove. I think is remove slash triage space the name of the triage. I think. Like we go
Yeah.
go for the bird. Go for the bird.
Yes.
Like our is priority needs triage. I would say that remove slash priorities space needs triage. But you can try later.
Yeah, it might work. I mean, maybe we should effectively. We don't need it to be priority. It needs to just be like triage pending or something, right? And it's like effectively the goal is that like new issues raised by random people or anyone just get this, and then once we've the goal here is to just highlight that we haven't taken the action yet. That's the only thing about this. I mean, technically speaking, this does it as well, but so maybe we should just remove the priority needs triage label that's in the issue template. Maybe that's the simplest solution here.
Yep.
I don't know. How do you guys want to do it? People who have access to do this. We only got.
I would just remove and use the left
Okay,
column.
So let's just quickly add that as a task. Okay, I'll just highlight it for myself. Remove the. Moved up here. We'll just think about it as well. Like,
in the Kubernetes Pro bot, which we are using to do slash concept, right? Like doing slash triage and stuff. They use just need triage, and then you can do slash triage, and that's what they are doing. So I've just pasted a label link. The one which you're showing, you just need triage, and then you can do slash triage XYZ, and it will do those bits.
okay, and where is triage?
It's in this file. Yeah, if you just type triage, you will find one. Yeah,
you get that label. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are more. If you just click next, you will find some more of them. Yeah.
Triage accepted, duplicated. This is interesting. Maybe we should do this. But it says added by humans, like that, right?
So I think the way is you need to add these labels and automation will automatically pick them. If like in your repository, you need to add these labels first, and then the slash commands will work if the labels exist in your repository. Same thing which we did last time for area, right? You created multiple areas and now you can do slash area XYZ. Same thing if you create these labels in your repository, then you can do slash triage XYZ.
It also, I think also we can link it the automation to the sidebar here. I really, okay, the goal is fundamentally to say when an issue gets raised, we need to make sure it has an area for version and like the two kinds of areas. And then whether we accept it as a bug or not, and whether it's going to be tasked to do or it's duplicate or something like that. So I guess we just need to remember to do that, right? Like, and we need to have a set of tasks that are for every new issue, which is like, is it duplicate? Which area is it? Once we're happy, it's either in the backlog and to do, or it's in discussion, right? Or
Right.
it's closed because it's invalid for some reason.
Right. Like last time when you were saying there will be issue templates, right? In the issue templates, we can put pre-existing labels like needs triage should be there in any new.
Yeah, we can. That's what we had. That's how this one's appearing. That's how
Actually,
these are.
sorry for interrupting. I think I can share. We do the same for trainer right now. So we right now, as Harshad said, we don't using needs triage. So Matthew, if you open the trainer repo, I can show you quickly what we do there. So every issue that's new contributor open, apply this label called lifecycle needs triage. It's a different label, but we have a command to remove it. So the command called remove minus label, lifecycle needs triage. Like one of the examples for you.
I guess it's the same idea here, but I guess you can use anything that has a thing at the beginning, right? Because only these areas are allowed. Cool. Yeah, the life cycle is easy because of that. I guess maybe that is the right way to do it.
If you open this example, you will see what we do. The problem with lifecycle, it doesn't support needs triage.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I was about to say. I don't know if lifecycle is the right one to use because this has a very defined. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time, but let's I
shared in the comment if you're wondering what.
Oh, we're in the comment. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit messy. I don't know. I think it seems like there is some kind of thing like what Harshad was saying for what was it again? It was
I think what Kubernetes is doing it may be cleaner.
Triage. Yeah, I think it's because it's triage, right? Because like it's like because it is also about like accepted, duplicate. These are things, right? You know, but effectively they like okay. The problem is there doesn't seem to be a triage. Oh no, there is.
The Pro has all the functionality. Kubernetes has much larger triaging policy, like as Harshad shared.
I think it's just like you just go /triage accepted, and all we need to do then is triage, just adding an arbitrary triage.
Then you will have triage accepted labels, right? Which I don't know if you need, right?
You just need to have these labels in your repository. Rest, you can like all the automation is already there.
Yeah, needs triage. We just need to have one called needs triage. That's simple, honestly. Let's do that. Okay, easy. I can do that very easily and make that change. So, where is it? They need to move on very quick as well. Like steps 1, create a new needs triage label on notebooks dashboard repo. 2, add needs triage to all issue templates. 3, what's the next one is create process steps for triaging an issue, like decide if issue is valid, triage, accepted, triage, duplicate, ... Ensure it has the right area labels. Ensure it has the right kind labels. Bug, feature, question. V1, V2, front end, move it to the right stage in the tracking project. I'm going to say we might be able to. Can we automate this based on the triage label? I think you probably can. So I think we can also automate it. I wonder if the bot will understand if someone manually adds the label to remove the other one, you know? So like if we make it so that moving it to here automatically adds it as accepted, you know, to do. I wonder, or is the automation the other way around? Do we know? In an item. None of these are actually that, are they? Yeah. Well, anyway, we need to move on. Okay, I think that's at least some steps we can do. If anyone's got any other ideas, let's talk after. Let's do this. Red. Okay. Last part. So, people have their tasks. So, who wants to go first? We only got 8 minutes. Let's try and be quick. Editor, what have you worked on?
Yeah, I didn't work on not working for model registry, and now this week I'm working with the MVP definition for this.
Okay.
Yeah, so this week for the next week I plan to have the epics and the issues and move everything. So probably I'm going to ping a lot of people, especially for the front end, to move things under epic that are already in progress, and also for the back end.
Okay, cool. Paulo?
Hello. I'm working on the creation UI as well. Not as well. I'm working on the creation UI. Yesterday I reviewed Hans PR. I believe should probably talk about
Okay,
it.
cool. Yeah. So what do you see working on this workspace? Great.
Yeah, I'm working on the drawer that will do to. It's the second item there on the description to show details for workspace kinds and images during the steps of the wizard of creation.
This one?
No, this is the workspace kind.
Oh, that's the sorry.
Yeah.
This one?
That's just the item number 2.
When you say item number 2, oh, you mean it's not a link? I see. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not a link. I didn't open the PR yet. It's just the issue there.
Okay, cool. That sounds
I'm
good.
also
Anything
reviewing-
blocking you then?
I'm reviewing today Yossi's PR that's rebased to add the call to the BFF to create the workspace that will call from the wizard.
So this is like one of the first hooks to replace the mock, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Not the mock, because it's just the call for the post to create, not the list. But yeah, it's just to call something. The button there is not doing anything right now.
Okay, cool. Anything else you're blocked by? What's your next steps? Obviously, once we've got the tasks, it'll be a bit easier, I think, to know what's happening.
Yeah, but I'm not blocked by anything at the moment.
Okay. Editor, is that review happening, or are we all good here?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Paul and I will need to take a look on this.
Okay, cool. Is Jenny here?
Jenny is out sick
Okay,
today.
cool. Love?
Liam, hey. So the workspace kind view was merged this week, and I will start next week to work on the empty state for the workspaces filter. I will edit.
Okay.
That's it for my side.
Okay. Awesome. We'll start that. That sounds good. Okay, what does empty state mean, sorry, in this case?
For the filter side, we don't have the no results found. If the we have it in workspace kind. I did it for workspace kinds, and we need to do it also
Okay.
for the workspaces filter.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, let's okay, Andy.
I think we covered all this stuff earlier, so looking for these two to get merged, and then I'll follow up with the central DB Angular test actions once those are in. I think 83 is good to go. That was Malin's PR, and the checks passed on his. And then mine, if just someone wants to run through my instructions to make sure it's not a works on my machine kind of thing, but it should only take 5 or 10 minutes. Like I said, I got stuff to start up and connect and look good, but just a sanity check on 88.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you're working on around like the tilt things? Like what's happening with that?
So yeah, the tilt one's just kind of like, I LGTM'd it, I think, but it's really just a matter of like, do we want to like add any instructions to do anything with it, right? Like tilt starts, dashboard says components are healthy, but like, do we want to instruct people in that guidance to like apply, something through customize or like, you know what I mean? Like take action versus just like, okay, I see this tilt dashboard is here, cool, right? Which if we want to like, that's the state that it's at right now, right? Like you get the tilt dashboard, but nothing's in there. I feel like one other step to like do something with it and create something would probably be a little bit more meaningful as a getting started guide.
How did we end up with a failing test here? How did we end up with a failing test? There's a failing test here.
Okay, that's weird.
It seems like something that wouldn't fix itself. We might need to rebase this, but I wonder how this failed. Maybe it needs to just be rebased, or it's not clear. Okay, anyway, so this is something. Okay, so I guess the tasks for me, then I'll just make sure I put it there, are review the dashboard PR, and then like I want to get this tilt PR merged, but I need to see like what is failing test. So that's that, and then your dashboard one. Okay, so I don't know if there's anything you can work on there, but so who actually raised the tilt PR, by the way? It's
Al.
Okay. That's weird. Why would this fail? Anyway, we need to look at that. Okay. Anything else you're gonna work on? So I guess what you'll work on once we've got that. So once we've merged that PR, what do you do
I'll
next?
be meeting with Eddard. I'm sure we'll start to work on some of this, plan that you and him have been discussing.
But even for this dashboard migration, like what else needs to be done there?
Oh, so I like the central DB Angular PR needs to be opened. And so once those two are in, I'll get that, I can get that opened in an hour or so.
Is this also just fixing its building as well?
Yes, exactly. Which is, I just
right.
wanted 83 and 88 in. That gives us a good steady state of main, and then I'll come in with the tests on top of that. So that's just a README update on the steps, and then I'll codify that in the actions.
This is only for the Angular one, right?
Correct.
Okay. This is kind of a block as well, right?
Yes.
So then the next one. Okay, and then you're gonna add. Then the next steps are to make a new PR, right?
Yes. Correct. Yes. Then the actual central DB Angular PR will come.
Build dashboard, which now currently currently failing after migration. Okay. Any other things that you think might block our finishing up of the dashboard stuff there?
Not that I'm aware of at this time. No.
Okay. Cool. Hen, we've only got like 1 minute or so. So Hen.
Yeah, so I created the PR, I sent it to review to Paolo and Jenny, got some feedback, and I'm currently fixing it. I think that in a few more hours I will finish with everything and send it back for a second review.
Okay, and so it's just the only PR, so you just need someone to review it, or have you got tasks to finish?
I need to send it to Paolo and Jenny again, right?
Okay. So you're blocked by waiting for a review.
No, I need to send it back. Yeah, they're waiting for my correction of the PR.
What I'm saying is you need to do some updates, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Anything else you'll be working on or blocked by?
Not yet.
Okay, cool, awesome. Let's move on. Hashad, hopefully he's still here.
Yes, I started the development of this. I need to open the pull request, but I'm still working on that. And the other two tasks which we're discussing, they are yet to be start from my side.
Yep. Yeah, and so the virtual server stuff we will also need to start tracking at some point. We need to think about what that means for, because I don't think we can have an alternative to Istio. That's the problem. We are still pretty hard pinned to Istio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, anyway, at the very least, I need to also merge my PR, which adds the secret thing, which updates some of the tests as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of blocked by me as well, but
I'm still working on the rest of the things, so it should be fine.
Which other things, sorry?
Like the non-main container status, right? There are other things inside, and just to put that's what I'm trying to get all the.
It's easier once the tests are able to be written, I think. But yeah, we need to also think about how those tests need to be like a table-driven test. Like even adding that first might be, like maybe even the next step between here might be, okay, this is definitely valuable, but like it's going to be hard to merge that PR unless it has tests. And maybe the first one is like making a bunch of status tests, for the integration test on the controller. Like I'm adding one, but it's still very custom, and I think we should, I don't know how much pain it would be to make a table-driven test suite for the, I don't know, maybe I should do that when I make my PR. I don't know, we'll have to see.
Let's continue with this, right? Like as I work, I'll also try to think about it and then give you some of my details as I find these things.
Okay, and then I will stay. Okay, anyone else hasn't said anything yet? Tests and make it use failure back off or retry. Okay, anyway, cool. So for next steps for you then, I'll just hash out one more thing here. Was like, okay, so once that merges, then I guess you will need to rebase, but more than that, have you started any work on this at all or not really?
Yeah, from like internally in my system, that's what I'm working right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I guess if you have an idea for how to, like, cause I guess I really need to make that test thing. We haven't got a good grid test thing for our controllers. We're going to have so many tests that we need to make, but right now they're very custom, So, okay. Whatever. Okay, cool. Anyone else who hadn't said anything? We've got 3 minutes over, so. Okay, anyone? Hi, yes, no. If not, we'll stop the recording. Thank you, everyone. It's always lots going on. Exciting. Once we've got these epics, I think it will be much easier to figure out where to find new people and assign new people to tasks and help people understand the context for what they're doing, maybe, and help them, not have to ask you.
We are going to start by those three, but Matthew and I, we have like 10 epics or 13 epics for the whole vision of the MVP 1.0 of Notebook 2.0. and probably we will have more tasks to start.
Cool. Yep. So I guess the next steps for the current meeting are we do need to fix that priority thing, and then other than that, I guess I'll put that under under me, I guess. Okay. I've got so many tasks. Okay. Yes. Anyway, I'll stop recording. Thanks for coming, guys.